Hey folks, this is Carl from my Vantage Point podcast here. Uh, Before I go ahead and get into the episode here this afternoon, is I had to change the my YouTube um, channel name from my Vantage Point. Um, it was from my perspective. Now I've changed it to from my point of view. The reason being is because there was another YouTube channel that has From My Perspective on there. I think he has. I think he does more with football or sports, that sort of thing. But mine's more. But the reason why I change it to from my point of view, from my vantage point, is because I don't want anybody to get confused. But my YouTube channel, for my on Spotify, from my perspective, is still up and running. I haven't changed that. Haven't changed that at all. So before I go ahead and get into started with the with some of the details of my episode here, the title of this episode is "The Land of the Free and Opportunity." I think on my podcast, I think I have it why our country was founded. I have tweaked it a little bit for this. After looking over some of my notes, I wanted to tweak a little bit to kind of fit my YouTube channel here, and I always like to review and make any changes necessary. So, so yeah, the title of this episode here is "The Land of the Free and Opportunity." So the theme song for this is the title of the song is called "Free from Stryper." The song is about making your own choices, seeing your own opportunities, that sort of thing. You're just free to do whatever you want to do. You have to make the choice. You have the right, and you have the choice. You have the right to choose whatever how you want to live. I'll put the theme song in the description page. I'll put the video on there, or a link on the YouTube of the theme song there, and then the description down below. So let's go ahead and actually get started with this with this episode here. Now, first of all, I just want to say what this episode is. Is how we view and see our country here. In regards with this episode here, this is not a political episode. This is not something I want anybody to start commenting about with anybody else, with any other groups. Honestly, this is how we. My main focus of this episode here today is to change our way of thinking and to change how we see our country. I know our country's a wreck. Our country's a mess. I know our political leaders that were voted in. I'm not saying I voted them in, but we need to see the change, but we also need to see we need to look at our country a little bit differently with the opportunities and the freedoms that we still do have. We just have to make those choices. But like I said, this is nothing about anything political. This is not about immigration, nothing like that. But I just wanted to take a look and just see how we just be able to having for us to take a look at the opportunity and take a look at our country in a different light here. That's basically the whole purpose of this episode here. As we do look in the history books here, the history books we see that Columbus actually had discovered America, and it's actually a purely by accident. We always hear the things that in 1492 Columbus sailed the ocean blue. I think he actually landed in the Caribbean. I think eventually he came over a couple more times to what's now called the Americas. And so, as we know about, years later, the Pilgrims and the Puritans had come over, and the reason why they came over was because of the Church of England. They had like a lot of religious persecutions. They couldn't practice the way they wanted to practice. The Puritans and Pilgrims, they couldn't practice the way they wanted to practice their religion freely, so they broke away. They left. Between 1630 and 1640, there was a thing called the Great Migration. The world to the what's quote unquote new world for economic opportunities. So, first of all, so our country, was really founded, for two reasons. Um, you know, it, you know, it was founded for religious reasons and also for economic opportunities. And with these years later, people, from all over the world are still wanting to come to America, are still coming into America, um, for one of two things. For religious freedom, for freedom from oppression, whether if it's a government oppression, religious oppression, and other ones are, coming to, they see us as a land of opportunity, so they're coming over to take advantage of those economic opportunities, and also religious and freedom free, freedom opportunities, if that's such a term. But anyway, um, so because I deal with a lot of business owners, especially I do help out with people who are business owners who are immigrants. They come over from other countries, and they want to send money elsewhere. They want to send money, to their family that's in their homelands, and they're doing pretty well for themselves. But here's the thing: is that with Americans, people who are born and raised here, what our problem is that there was with some of us, we don't see our country as a land of opportunity. We just don't. Some of us actually, and probably in some cases, some of us are being oppressed, and some are being oppressed by others. While these oppressors are living freely, which is kind of sad. But we do live in the land of opportunity. Everybody does have right to live the life they want to live. Honestly, people who are in power, they want to oppress as many people as they possibly can. Perfect example: the pandemic from 2020 to about 2022, or like the beginning of 2022, somewhere around there. But especially in 2020, to where everything was shut down. Couldn't go anywhere. It was just the weirdest. It was just the weirdest time in our current history, where we saw. Because I work at a financial institution. Now I was getting off at 5 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock, and the streets are like there's no cars on the streets at all, none whatsoever. It was almost like a post-apocalyptic type of situation, where I mean there's nearly nobody on the road. That everything had to be shut down at a certain time frame. There was a curfew, which was just the strangest thing. But that's a perfect example of people who are in power trying to oppress people, in any way possible. Yeah, I mean, you know, the thing is that we just don't. We're seeing some of the after effects of that, with our kids and economically, that sort of thing. Um, so how can we see the how can we stop the how can we see the opportunities of being free and see other opportunities? Well, first of all, we must see ourselves as free people. Honestly, nobody likes to have their freedom stepped on. Don't anyone likes to be oppressed. With our founding fathers, when they wrote the Constitution, they didn't want the government to dictate. They wanted to dictate our country's religion. They wanted to have people to have freedom of religion, to live, to have a pursuit of happiness, to live the way they want to live and be happy. That's basically what it is. They don't want the government dictating anything, which I believe that our government has gone away from. They want to dictate more and more and more and more. They want to take people's guns away, that sort of thing. They want to take people's guns away. They want to take people's freedoms away. They want to take people's jobs away. It's just not fair. Just not right for our hardworking people. Also, too, the other thing we need to look at is this. This is basically the opportunity part of it. is that we must look at our country through the lens of immigrants. Again, with this part here, it's not about with illegal immigrants, nothing like that. This is basically looking how immigrants are seeing our country. Just the fact that we had to, I will shut the comments down if people are arguing about illegal immigration. I'll shut the comments down on this. But secondly, we must look at our country through the lens of immigrants. We must see how our country is how blessed we are. With all the opportunities that we have, but we don't take advantage of them. To immigrants, they just don't see it that way. They see that our land of opportunity. They see our land of making money, of living free. But we don't see it that way. We're so unfortunate, and that's the reason why people come here to America with nothing at all. Just they come in, they work hard. In some cases, they work harder than us because they see what we don't see. And that's opportunity. I'm not an immigrant by any means, but I do know what it's like of being poor. My dad had a really good job, had a good paying job, and he just lost it during the 1982 the recession in 1982. And I do remember my dad not having a job, all of a sudden not having a job. I remember my dad had to get rid of his truck because he couldn't make payments on it. I do remember living with my grandfather, and at the age of like being a preteen, like 10, 11, 12 years old, I thought that living in New Kensington wasn't for me anymore. I was looking for another opportunity after graduating from high school, leaving New Kensington, Pennsylvania, going to college, spent 12 years, get a 4-year degree, meeting my wife there, getting married, and we moved down here to North Carolina with a car full of stuff and very little money in the bank account. Moved down here. I've been working at the same place for the last 11 years. Have 2 little girls, and we're renting. We live in a really nice house, a really nice townhome, and we have a really nice car outside. It's because we're seeing opportunity. Because I saw, because under certain circumstances, the door had swung open for us to move down here. So we took advantage of it. It was like, we need to move down there. It says, if we don't move now, we're never going to move. It's plain and simple. So I'm glad and also too, I lost my job up there in Indiana. I got fired, and I don't want to live like that anymore. So I hustled. I was looking for a job. I ended up working at a temp agency, but I ended up getting a job in a matter of a month or two, or within a few weeks. And also too, the reason why we don't see these opportunities is because we got comfortable in where we're at, and we've gotten lazy. Basically, that's what it is. We got comfortable, we got entitled, and we got lazy. We feel like because we're Americans, we should have first dibs on everything. Well, if you have first dibs on everything, why aren't people working in the why aren't Americans working in the fields picking fruit? Why aren't Americans doing some of the dirty jobs? It's because Americans have this expectation of wanting to get a higher wage. I get it because you have a family to feed. That's why you want a higher wage. In some cases, you have to start at the bottom. When I was a teenager, I had worked at a machine tool shop, sweeping floors for $4.25 an hour. That was over 30 years ago. I know the minimum wage, it didn't go up too much, but you have to start somewhere. You have to start, if it's $10 an hour or $15 or $12 an hour, you have to start somewhere, because a lot of cases, some Americans are either underqualified or overqualified. You know, if you're underqualified, you have every opportunity to go get a job and start at the bottom. There's a video I saw recently about this guy who owns a septic tank place. He cleans out septic tanks. He lives in Asheville, North Carolina, or up around there. He had done a video about with if you don't have any skills, be a gopher. You know, clean the trucks, go get the tag, go get the trucks inspected, get the tags renewed on the truck. You know, organize the place, take orders, or restock the rooms or the supplies, clean the tools off. You know, you're saying that people who are skilled and highly valuable, they don't want to do that stuff. If you guys start off doing that, you know, you could actually be able to move up, not only in the company, but other companies could potentially see you with those skills and potentially hire you. That's, you know, you have to start somewhere. I mean, there's no if you need to go back to school, you know, probably the best kind of college to go to is a trade school, or like or a tech school. I know we have what's called Forsyth Tech. It's a community college. Go to community college. I know that some of the debt is can be a little less than a 4-year degree, and you actually get the skills that you get skills with jobs that people that you can go out to work almost right after schooling, depending upon what you get into. So my final thought or lesson for today is really we actually need to change our mindset on how we see our country, and why our country was founded. Our country, the reason why our country is called the land of opportunity, the land of the free, is because it is. I know some of you may not agree with it. Our country is land of the free, but you know, we're not in a dictatorship at this point. We're not in a communist country at this point. We're still free. We still have a land. We're still a land of opportunity. There are still jobs out there. If you cannot get a job, start one yourself. It's plain and simple. Well, I hope you all have a good day, and thank you for watching.